Welcome to r/confession, where this dude admits to scamming a kid online for a fake pair of trainers. However, as you'll soon see, there is more to this story than it seems. Here we go. I sold a pair of fake Jordans to a kid, and now I can't sleep. I've been looking on r/fashion reps for quite a while now, and a couple of days ago, I did possibly the trashiest thing I've done in my entire life. I put an ad on Facebook Marketplace, and he didn't even ask if they were real or not. He was immediately willing to buy and seemed very happy with them. I don't know why, I didn't think about or try to justify it in my mind. Maybe the money got to me. I made $400 from one sale. But the worst freaking part, is that it was a high school kid who didn't know better. I took advantage of someone less able than me for money. I feel so scummy. Last night I had nightmares all night long. I saw the kid and even felt more guilty and woke up suddenly, sweating, terrified, almost crying. I'm a trashy person, and I honestly never thought I could go this low, but God, I just feel so awful. I wish I could undo it and give him all my money, but I can't. I hate myself and what I've become because of my greed. Okay, there we go. Obviously, this guy's done something pretty terrible here, stealing realistically $400 from someone who knew nothing better, but there's clearly some remorse shown here, and as you'll soon see, there are some updates, and this story progresses even further. Updates. Thank you all for being brutally honest and telling me what I needed to hear. I wrote this post and went to bed, hence why I didn't respond, and just woke hearing everything that I needed to hear. The reason I can't contact him is because I made a Facebook account to sell them, and I deleted it afterwards. But I'm gonna contact Facebook to try and recover my account. I'll keep you all updated. Again, thank you for humbling me because honestly, I totally needed it. And then a second update. Thank you all for giving me the humbling I needed. And thanks to one of the comments. I realized I have 30 days to log into the account to get it back, so I did, and I messaged him. He was really thankful that I told him and was honest, and I sent the money back to him. I also told him he can keep the shoe, and he was really happy to hear it. I'm glad I decided to do this. I'm 19, and just recently I've been thinking about the type of man I want to become. And this made me realize I never want to become someone who takes advantage of the weak and vulnerable. Love you guys. And then one more final update. Thank you guys so much. Your kind words and actions honestly mean the world to me. This has been a growth opportunity for me and really helped me choose my values as I grow up every day. I've included below some links to screenshots of the convos in case any of you guys are curious. I love you all and I'll never forget this. Alright then, and here are those messages. I was talking with a sneakerhead friend about the mockers and I recently found out they were probably fake or unauthentic. Okay, so maybe he didn't realize when he first sold them? I didn't know at the time, but I would like to give you a full refund now that I know because I feel really bad. I don't want the shoes back, but I'm willing to e-transfer or PayPal you or just meet up and give you the cash back to make up for my mistake if you're willing to accept it. Okay, so that actually makes you less bad than I even thought in the first place, on top of all this remorse, because you actually didn't know at the time that they were fake when you sold them. I mean, if anything, that comes across now as a genuine mistake and you're looking to fix it. It's not that bad, really. Please let me know which method of refund you'd prefer, and I hope you can accept my apology for my shortcoming. And the dude replies, "Hey, I appreciate your honesty, bro. You could have just let it be and never contacted me back. I really appreciate it, and I hope good karma repays you back." And then, yeah, e-transfer me. OP says, "Thank you so much for understanding. Again, sorry about that. I'll send it right now." Sent. Sorry again for the mess up, but glad I could reach you again. No problem. I'll let you know when I receive the money, and I'll also do a legit check on the shoes just to be 100% sure they're fakes. Sounds good, bro. Let me know. And then at another time, the dude sends this message. They ended up being fakes. Again, I appreciate the honesty, and I also received the money back. And there we go. Good stuff. So there we go. I guess what seemed in the first instance as a pretty terrible event and an awful thing to do, scamming someone out of that much money who knew no better, actually ended up to be all right, only if you're being honest, OP, about not knowing if the shoes genuinely were fake when you sold them. I mean, yeah, you probably should have checked anyway, but I guess that could have been an honest mistake. And the fact that you rectified it like this and sent all the money back and said keep the shoes, great stuff from you. I also love that you're learning from it. I also love that the guy you sold them to is just a great lad as well. Good people. Wow, I did not expect this story to turn out like this, and I, for one, am very happy. Now, speaking of clothing that is 100% legit, have a little listen to this. Now, before we get into our next story, I have a very special announcement for you. After an insane amount of demand from you guys, I'm delighted to say that I've released some limited edition Not Today Karen merch. Picture this, you're out and about in the streets and a wild Karen appears and starts confronting you. What do? Well, normally you have to talk to a witch like this. However, get one of these t-shirts or hoodies on, and all you have to do is simply point to it, laugh, and walk away. How easy is that? The link is down in the description if you like what you see. Go ahead, check the stuff out. I think they'd make a great Christmas present or even just a little gift for yourself. As always, it's official stuff from the very best supplier, so the quality is unmatched, and it's one of the best ways to support me and the channel. With that being said, let's carry on. I plagiarized my English paper, passed, and now it will haunt me forever. I hated my English teacher my first year of high school. He was weird and had a dry sense of humor I couldn't appreciate at the time. But over the next few years, I learned to really like him. I was even his TA my senior year. We'd always talk about music and literature. He introduced me to some of my favorite music. I think it was my sophomore or junior year. We had a big paper to write over a book we were supposed to read. House on Haunted Hill, possibly, which would be fitting. I didn't read the dang book then and totally copied my friend's paper. I changed it enough, but I was sure that he'd see through me. I got an A, and every dang time I saw this teacher, he would tell me how brilliant my paper was. Did he know? Did he torture me with this for the next decade? We actually remained in touch after high school and had coffee from time to time. His wife owned a local candy shop. He passed away a few years ago after moving to a new state, but every single time I saw him previous to that, he always mentioned my amazing plagiarized paper over a book I never read. I always wanted to tell him, to know if he really knew. I think he knew. Brilliant butthole. I miss him. Yeah, I think he definitely knew. The fact that he kept bringing it up 10 years in the future proves to me that he knew exactly what he was doing and just wanted to see if you would ever, give in and say, yeah, you got me, or just go along with it. And fair play for going along with it for that length of time. To be honest with you, I think the teachers are probably slightly more aware about cheating and collusion in class than we give them the benefit of. He definitely knows he cheated just a little bit, surely. The fact that he's bringing up 10 years later from some random sophomore paper, yeah, he knows. Unlucky. I stole thousands of dollars from my dad while in prison and lied to him for years. My dad was sentenced to 13 to 40 years in prison for drugs. When he first got arrested, I had to get a power of attorney so I could act on his behalf. He didn't leave a hidden stash of money in case he ever got arrested, so I had to sell off some of his assets, specifically his racehorses, in order to pay for a lawyer. I was also forced to collect money from people who owed him, and I had to reach out to associates for help. He was also retired and he received a pension each month. The state froze all of his bank accounts, including his pension. The only way to prevent the state from intercepting his pension or any other funds was to open up a joint account. Once I did that, I had steady monthly income and a credit card with a huge credit limit. I quit my job to help with his case. I did a lot of legwork, paper chasing, and constantly having to be in court. I also had to move into his house and take over his truck lease, as well as my car lease. His entire life dropped in mine and my son's lap, who he helped raise. He was 9 at the time. Once my father was sentenced and things settled down a bit, he'd send people to the house to make sure we were doing okay or to see if I needed anything. Sometimes they would want me to put money on his books. That went on for about a year, and by this point he had a good amount of pension money in the bank. The problem was, I ended up suffering from tremendous anxiety, paranoia, and PTSD caused by the entire incident. I had no idea my dad was dealing like that. Now, these may sound like excuses, but for me, they were justifications. I ended up becoming so angry with him, especially because he started telling me to invest his money and fix up his house, buy this, buy that. He'd tell me what he wanted waiting for him when he got home. Money and greed got him into that situation, and it ruined my life. He didn't think about that or care about how it would affect my son and I. So, I used his money. I took my son to Disney. We went on vacations. I bought him anything he wanted for Christmas. I bought myself nice things. I even had a good job, but I still did it. Why? Because I was bitter. He didn't deserve to get out of prison, only to have thousands of dollars to pick up where he left off. So when he'd constantly ask how much money he had, I'd lie. I did have intentions of paying it back over time, but he got suspicious and gave my sister POA behind my back. They found out I lied, and neither of them have talked to me since. That was 8 years ago. I mean, wow, honestly, where to even begin with this story? Morally, I have no idea what I think. So much has gone on here. Who's in the right, who's in the wrong? I've got no idea. I mean, one thing is for certain, your dad is in the wrong, right? First of all, he's in prison. Second of all, he's made all that money illegally, and realistically, is that fair? Obviously not. So does he deserve to have it in the first place? I don't think he does. But then secondly, should you be the one keeping it from him and spending it yourself on things that you want to do? I mean, in the eye of the law, no. But morally, maybe? I don't know. I'm still not really sure. Ultimately, it shouldn't be any of your money. I mean, your dad was dealing drugs. That's illegal. But the fact that you've now got it, you are kind of hiding it though. Oh, I don't know. It's a tough one. Guys, get in the comments. What do you reckon? Just looking through some of the comments, it's your prerogative apparently as the power of attorney to decide how the funds are used. That's not illegal, nor is it stealing. So that's interesting. And also you did have to spend a number of hours, an insane amount of time doing all the legwork, treating it pretty much your full-time job. You should be rewarded for that in some way. I don't think it's fair that he's saying, invest all my money, have it ready for me when I get out, and you take nothing. So yeah, I guess treat yourself, but On the other hand, it's still drug money. I'm not sure how I feel about that. And now for our final confession of this episode. And guys, after listening to this one, I think you'll agree I've saved the deepest, darkest confession to last. I've convinced several friends of mine to get their nipples pierced because I know they'll show me afterwards. This isn't a sex crime I'm confessing to. It's not even in the same ballpark, but it is in the same sport. Basically the title. I have a lot of female friends and always have. I just tend to get along with every flavour of identity more than I do cis men on the whole, for whatever reason. And because I'm a very open, sensitive, and emotional person, or at least I present as such, I'm always worried that I might just be a sociopath who's so good at lying that I convince myself I'm a good dude. A huge chunk of them are completely unafraid to come to me when they're in a bad place. I've helped friends get through rough breakups, catastrophic job loss, serious illness, or friends who just really want to vent about dating issues. And I have no problem with this. I'm married and happy. I have no interest in sleeping with any of them beyond the abstract idea of, wow, it would be pretty cool if X was cool getting naked around me. You know, I feel that's just kind of an impulse that every sexually active person on the planet thinks about every so often. I flatly rejected the only one who ever admitted feelings for me since I've been married. I have zero desire to ruin the amazing relationship I currently have. However, I'm a dude that likes breasts. I've never met one I didn't like. Some of my friends have great breasts, and I wouldn't object one iota if they wanted to show them to me. And in fact, I've come to learn that I love it when they show them to me. And I learned this by the title of this post. A few years ago, a friend of mine had a really nasty breakup that ended a several-year-long relationship. She told me that she just felt like the ugliest woman in the world and couldn't imagine feeling good about herself again. I remembered a buddy mentioning before that his girlfriend at the time had pierced nipples, and she got it done because she was also insecure about her body. And afterwards, she felt incredibly empowered and had a drastically improved self-image. So I said, hey, instead of the post-breakup haircut that women tend to get, why don't you try piercing your nipples? I hear it's a great way to feel good about yourself, and it would rub it in that cheating idiot's face that you are so hot that even your nipples deserve jewelry that he completely missed his chance to see. She immediately latched onto the idea. The part I didn't expect was, when she actually got it done a few weeks later, she sent me a pic to show off how it looked. It turns out, the trust required to send a completely platonic breast pic is outrageously hot to me. I had no idea that this was such an intense turn on for me until this moment. It's a weird thrill that's both awesome in how open it is. She sent my wife the same pic, and we both high-fived and agreed that it was hot as heck on her, while also feeling so forbidden. I definitely didn't tell my wife how much it excited me, nor did I tell her that the pic was immediately saved to my spank bank and is forever filed in my mental Rolodex under T for breasts I've seen. There's just something about the intimate trust required that really gets me going, because even really sexually liberal women I know aren't exactly keen on showing off like that to me. I felt like I discovered a superpower. I can convince people to do something non-sexual for me that I actually find unbelievably sexy. Is this how people with foot fetishes feel like? All the time? So I did it again, and again, and again. 4 times now I've managed to plant the idea of getting nipple piercings into my friends' heads, and 4 times they've gone through with it and showed me the results. It's actually pathetic even beyond the manipulation involved, because they've all sent the same post-piercing pic to all their friends, so I'm not even getting anything special necessarily, but it still feels like a public open taboo that nobody wants to admit might be taboo at all. I reckon I'd feel similar getting blown in public with nobody around me caring, you know? I might be the only person with a sheltered enough upbringing to even find it taboo in the first place, but dang it, it feels like a forbidden pleasure for me specifically, and that's what matters. I love it. I want to keep doing it. I want to amass a collection of pics from every single friend I have. It's actually embarrassing to admit that I'm secretly frustrated that everybody I know isn't in a position to be receptive to the idea right now, so I haven't been able to do it since COVID started and may never get to again. And the fact that I want to is so freaking shameful to me because it feels like cheating on my wife. It's not a crime, but it is incredibly scummy, and I'm self-aware enough to know that, but I'm also just enough of libido-driven dumb that I can't stop thinking about who I could try to convince next. I feel awful, because I know it's manipulative and unbelievably gross to essentially exploit people who trust me like this, but the high I got the first time it happened was what I assume the first time you try heroin is like, because I've been chasing that dragon ever since, no matter how bad it is. Where do we even start? There's so much to unpack there. So much that I just can't even comprehend. The main thing that comes across to me is that obviously this guy is an unbelievable pervert, but he doesn't even see that. He's saying that it's pretty much all right. And the justification, I mean, I'm sorry, my mic's all over the gaff here, just like my mind is. I feel absolutely fried after reading that. His justification for doing this, literally exploiting people for his own sexual demands and will, is so ridiculous. I can't even believe what I've just read. He thinks it's fine because they say, yeah, but he's the one that is getting so turned on by this without them knowing. Like, imagine building up all that trust with somebody, them sending you a picture in good faith, and then not knowing that that's how you're actually, you know, using it, putting it in your bank to use for later. The fact that your wife doesn't even realize that you feel this way. It is cheating, by the way. I don't care what you think. Oh, it's not really cheating. It sounds like cheating. No, it's cheating. Like, you're looking at other women's breasts for your own sexual desires. Is that not cheating? I mean, it's so weird, it's untrue. Wow, what a story to end this episode. Guys, I want to know how you feel about this one. Maybe you feel different to me, but this comment that I put on screen right now sums it up to me perfectly. You are a pervert, plain and simple. You can espouse how legal and above board everything is and drop enough self-deprecation to trick us into seeing from your POV, but it's not all that complicated. You are a pervert, my friend. You get off on manipulating a scenario where your friends trust you enough to show their body to you, and you've done this multiple times, and you want to keep doing it. In fact, you've admitted you're frustrated because all your friends aren't flashing their breasts to you. Nip. Very good. This in the bud now, if you can, because this is only going to escalate. I agree. This is only the beginning. Where are you going to go next? Like, are you going to ask for more piercings on other parts of the body? I don't know. It's gross, dude. Really manipulative, deceitful, and just plain creepy. That's the main thing. You are just a creep. Surely your friends are going to realize they've all got pierced nips soon and discover where the idea came from. Imagine that conversation. Is your wife not suspicious that you keep telling women to pierce their nipples? I know I would be, and I'm not your wife. Unfortunately. I just think you sound like a plain old boring pervert with a modicum of self-awareness and a modicum maximum, can I just say that? It'd be interesting if you have the decency to fight your basest selfish desires and actually try and stop doing this, because you're surely going to run out of female friends soon. And then what? Well, I don't even want to know what's going to happen at that point. But there we go. What do you think, guys? Agree with that comment or not? Oh, what a confession.